You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
This is the ITintheD Show, and we are at episode 183. Special guests today include Paul Fleck, the CEO at Dataspeed. We got Mike here from the Great Lakes Comic-Con. Pat Muldoon from ERC talking automobiles. Should be a phenomenal time. We got tons of news
sharing his words
and things and poems.
Sharing his words.
And
today's episode is brought to you by Fellows Shredders. You may think that all shredders are created equal, but only Fellows are built for durability and maximum performance, so they get the job done every single time. Plus, with features like 100% jam-proof system and silent shred, Fellows Shredders are at the forefront of technology. To learn more about the world's toughest shredders, visit Fellows, FELLOWES.com.
Dave, you may fire when ready.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
You're listening to the ITintheD Show.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now. And remember, ITintheD, it works every time.
Where do you guys think you are? The Library of Congress? Detroit? Beyond the sun?
Any of those right?
Hi, this is Jeremy London from Mallrats, and I'm just wondering, how did I go from Hot Floridian Sex with Brandy Spinning to the ITintheD Show?
Take him to Detroit.
No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
I used to hang out at the Magumbo Bar. It was a rough place, the seediest dive on the wharf, populated with every reject and cutthroat from Bombay to Calcutta. It's worse than Detroit.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
Dig, you IT geeks. This is Dre DeMatteo from Sons of Anarchy. You are listening to ITintheD.
So what happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bumhole?
Exactly.
Come on.
Someone tries. To hell with this. I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the ITintheD Show.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to ITintheD Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the geek off.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, John Kreese from the Karate Kid movie. And you're listening to ITintheD.
Are we at a break yet?
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to ITintheD. All you nerds out there.
Nerds?
Nerds!
What is a nerd?
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump Pump. ITintheD Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
You're in your underwear? I'm in my underwear. Here, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
It's just too big.
How big?
It's way too big.
I can get it all the way in.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
We just lost our clean tag on iTunes.
But it's delicious.
This is Robert Hayes, Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo Bar, I'm listening to the ITintheD Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat stick.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the ITintheD Show. The tough guy. Oh!
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do. The question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to what three IT geeks talk about when they're having a Stroh's.
Oh, 2.5 geeks.
In the can. 2.5 geeks. The one and only ITintheD Show, and we're at episode 183, broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit. Beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Bob, the sales guy, always hanging out with Captain Soundboard, Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG. Find us online, ITintheD.com. ITintheD.com. Shout out Randy and Ian filling up the Twitters. Follow us on all our socials. And go to the Meet tab on our site. That's MEET, not MEAT. We have...
Yet again, another week goes by. We still do not have meat sticks.
I'm working on it. Mark your calendars. February the 16th, that's this week. We're going to be at the Hamlin Corner from 5 o'clock.
Oh, my God, that is this week.
It is this week. We're going to be at the Hamlin Corner, downtown Royal Oak, right around the corner from Podcast Detroit Studios, from 5 o'clock until question mark. And then don't forget March 7th, the kickoff of IT and the D Ann Arbor chapter at Connor O'Neill's from 5 o'clock. Also until question mark. Randy and Spencer and Emily will be holding down court.
I forgot Emily, really.
I forgot Emily. Tom Murray. Who owns Connors?
You should be there then. Oh. So that voice is the only man we'll allow in the studios with a 10-gallon Stetson.
He's back.
Pat Muldoon's in the house, VP of Engineering at ERC. Also, we can call you a published author, which you think.
You're welcome.
You started it all.
I know you showed up here, 4 or 5 months ago with your little piece of paper.
I did.
Like the guy from Grosse Pointe Blank. These are my words.
It was great. We got to the end of the show, and he starts to close the show, and I go, wait a minute,
wait.
I want to read my poem, and he goes, I thought you were kidding.
Oh no, yeah, no. I remember we traded across the table. Like, is this really gonna happen on our show? All right.
anything more than haiku, and I start to snore. But Pat knocked it out of the park. So we're going to be joined by Pat. Actually, segment 4, segment 3, we're going to be joined by Mike DeSantis is here. Great Lakes Comic-Con, one of our favorite Comic-Cons of the year because there's room and there's cool people, and he has a guest lineup this year that will blow your mind. Can't wait for to the announcements.
It'll blow your mind.
Mine.
I already know who you're going after.
No. And then we also got...
Is that Jake or Mr. the Snake?
You blew it, Dave. Wait for the great unveiling. You ruined it. And we also got Paul Fleck here as the president, CEO of Dataspeed. We're going to learn about autonomous cars and who do they hit, the dog or grandma? That's going to be the question of the day.
Grandma. Hit grandma.
That's right. The Volvo or the smart car.
Anyway.
Right.
Inheritance. Think of it that way.
You have a $30,000 car, $20,000 car. Which one do you hit?
She's old.
That's right.
She's old. Get rid of her.
Do the quick analytics lookup. Who's got the higher deductible?
And smash that one.
It's a pedigree dog anyway. So,
but we're gonna have a fun conversation. Always one of our favorite topics. But let's jump right into it.
Do we start with our moron of the week, or it's our favorite lawsuit of the week? I'm sure.
Which one?
The gentleman from France, who is suing Uber because Uber has revealed to his wife that he was not keeping it in his pants.
Hang on.
Nor was it keeping it in her pants.
So let me get this. Hang on. So let me get this straight. He logged into his wife's phone.
No, he went and installed Uber on his wife's phone.
Right.
That because he couldn't find his phone.
Right.
So then he logs into Uber as him to get a ride.
Right.
And then he swears. He swore to God. He logged out. No, it's very French.
It's Italian.
It's very
French. Like all the European accents, like all one to one.
I'm this close to Marcel.
He watched too much CBC hockey. I think that's coming into play here.
It's my Don Cherry as a French Canadian. That's I'm doing an impression of Don Cherry, doing an impression of so that he swears he logs out, and yet his wife continues to get notifications on her phone of everywhere he's taking an Uber, including his mistress's house, repeatedly throughout the week when he was not where he told her he was going to be.
$47 million is that lawsuit.
Yes.
You know, and if I was the judge in this case, I'd be like, so did Uber make you stick your dick in that woman or what?
So let me get this straight.
So Uber had what part of this? Right.
No, you know what that reminds me of? All of the, like, my 12-year-old and all of her friends, when you take someone's unlocked phone and take a Snapchat and go, hacked it.
No, you were just a moron. You didn't lock your phone.
You don't know what that word is.
Or poor Bill who left his phone on the table at an event full of IT geeks and suddenly found himself posting on Facebook that he had pooped his pants.
No, wait, I want to set this up. He leaves his phone out, and I go, I bet you $100 that some bitch's password's 1234, and sure as shit, we pull 1234 and we get in the phone. So first thing we do is log into Facebook and go, "Oh my god, I'm at a networking event. I totally just crapped my pants." And they're like, "You're kidding?" I go, "No, I need help. Can someone like grab like?"
Oh, and so then we all so we're all friends with them.
Friends up to come
totally.
out.
Oh no, so we're all friends with them on Facebook. So we're like, "Oh my god, Bill, where are you? Can we help you?" And it's like giving it credence and credibility. And and
then we get back on his phone going, "Yeah, I'm not kidding." I'm like, "I don't know what to do."
I'm in the downstairs bathroom by the. Oh, it's amazing.
But that's what happens when you leave your phone out. But yeah, this clown, like, what? Why would he sue Uber for that though? That's you're a dupa. Like,
did Uber make you put your penis in that woman?
No.
The answer is no.
They enabled him to, but
no, they just dropped him off. There's no enablement.
It's the pimp.
If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. There is no difference between Uber's legal defense and a pimp's legal defense. Hey, we just put two consenting adults together and take a cut off the top. Whatever they do after that is their business, their thing.
So one of the things we always think, like we always joke, "Oh no, Amazon Echo's not recording me. My Samsung TV's not keeping my files." But
it is.
But iCloud is.
But it is.
And so it came out that when you think you're deleting your browser history on a Safari, on the Apples, not on the Googles, on the Apples, that Apple keeps that data.
For up to a year.
It might be cleared from your phone there, pal.
Yeah. Ain't going away. But so let me ask you a question. You guys know better than I do. Do they use it for? Is it metadata evil. Or is it like
pure evil?
It's not pure. Shut up. Is it no? Is it like
You're
for real?
The product, Bob. You're the product.
Are they just selling usage, like generic usage, or like do they know it's still you?
They won't comment, and that's the interesting thing here is that Forbes and a lot of other outlets reached out to them and said, "So what's going on?" They had it in a table called Sunset, and apparently, there's a company who basically figured out how to go after that from a remote location. Gave a tool to Forbes. Forbes found 7,000 of one of their employees' own search histories. So I don't know what they're using it for, but all of a sudden it's gone.
It's not useful information, is it?
Oh, it's completely useful information, dude. Nobody lies to their search engine. That's what Bruce Schneier said. So your search engine knows what diseases you have, if your wife is cheating on you, if you're planning on leaving your wife, what diseases your kid. I mean, just think of the things you Google, of course.
So basically I don't need to have that third check mark on my driver's license now to, donate my colon, my anus, and delete my browser.
Nobody wants your colon or anus, Bob. Let's be absolutely clear.
It's a George Carlin bit. Take it, get the hell out of my life. But like the whole delete the browser history.
That's my medical alert badge.
Right,
my bracelet, yeah.
But now it doesn't
delete
matter.
My browser history.
But Apple keeps it.
I don't use Safari.
Right, good. Neither do I.
And the fact that was exposed to the internet, and if you knew how to get it, that's even scarier.
But it doesn't change anything. It's kind of like the Target breach or the Arby's breach this week. Like, am I going to stop getting delicious beef and cheddar because
I have to stop?
We have
getting diarrhea.
No,
and the credit card numbers.
There's nothing better than
335,000 cards.
Anytime you start talking six figures for credit card numbers, that's kind of scary.
A few of them are mine because I like I said, I use my debit card. I do.
Well, we've talked about this a million times. Like it does. It makes me laugh. Like how many times. Like I'll wind up at a drive-through and I'll see cars peeling off when they get to the order, like to when you do the little thing where you place your order, and you get up and they're like, "Hey, just our credit card machine's down. We're only accepting cash." And I'm like, "Okay, so all those people ahead of me really wanted fast food, but did not have enough cash in their wallet."
Never have enough cash. I use my debit card 90% of the time. I go get.
But how expensive is your average fast food order?
$7.42 for a delicious beef and cheddar and small fries and a medium Dr. Pepper.
I'm like, I've gone through how many drive-thrus with you? I know.
Right.
This is why there's no beef sticks here, because he stops at Arby's.
They have the meat.
The interesting thing I learned about that article, though, is that there's a group called the PSCU, and they're like a credit union conglomerate. They have 800 member banks, and they sent out this as a notification saying, we've got 335,000 compromised Visa and MasterCard numbers from some unknown fast food establishment. Beware.
From Schwarby's.
They make the meats.
From a place that has the meats.
Right.
I love the conspiracy theory that it's not real meat. It's just like Jell-O, and it comes in like powder form, and they make Jell-O. And it's almost like episode 7, where it's like 1/4 portion, and you mix it with water, and it kind of goes whoomp, like what Ray eats.
MRE meats ready for eating.
Yeah, totally. But like that was the time I was real big on this at one point. I was emailing like KFC, and I asked them if their clone chicken's not real.
I remember that. Yeah.
And they would send me like a dissertation on their
they sent him a white paper. They really
I
did.
promise you our meat is real.
And like Arby's, I never got a response. So I'm thinking there's something behind that. It's not real meat.
Maybe hit them on social media. Apparently, social media is where all the fun people are that run their accounts.
Seriously,
That's
Arby's, is it real meat? Like Ian, you do it, or Randy. Just go to Arby's and go. Is it Jell-O meat or is it like
That's
real
right. Yeah,
meat?
Randy, Ian, go.
It's congealed. It's congealed meat.
Right, like no, but I think it's like the
Jell-O.
1/4 portion. I just
Processed
envisioned that.
meat product, whatever. We know it's fast food. You're not going there for it. Yeah. Somewhat social media, at least from a streaming media perspective. The big news this week: Prince's music now available through streaming services. Didn't take the family long to cash in on that one.
I would too. Actually,
Because he was like, he hated the internet, was notorious for shutting down like a whiff of a YouTube video that like used a 4-second sample of his song, and he had people all over it. And yeah, now it's on Spotify. It's there's a Sirius XM channel that's dedicated. I mean, it's out there now, which is great.
To the Beatles, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, same thing. So it makes sense. I mean, that's how people are consuming.
Well, didn't
music.
Michael Jackson buy who bought the Beatles? That was a weird
Michael Jackson.
Actually, there's a story we didn't talk about it. It was 2 weeks ago though, where so Michael Jackson sold that. One of the things he did before he died was Michael Jackson sold that, I believe, to Sony. Paul McCartney is now suing to get the rights back to his songs because he should have had first right of refusal as the artist.
See, that drives me nuts. It's kind of like when at the Great Lakes Comic Con last year when we sat next to the inventor of Q*bert.
And he didn't get anything.
And he doesn't get paid when they use it in all them crappy Adam Sandler movies.
That was a great movie. You take that
was
back.
Toilet. That was a giant.
That was a very good movie.
It was an amazing movie.
Wonderful.
That was
okay, it wasn't an amazing. It was an amazing flick.
That was a bag of toilet, and you know it. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Dude, I've watched that. I can't stop watching that movie. Every time it's on, I like.
You listen to Tiffany still, don't?
You're goddamn right. You watch my Super Sweet 16. Kiss my ass.
You're making up stories. You're making up stories.
I think too, like the guy
16
from,
and pregnant. I watched. No, I'm just kidding.
I think of the guy from AOL who paid him $200 to say you got mail.
Oh, and now he's an Uber driver. in Ohio, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, same thing.
Well, I wonder about the Siri lady because she just followed me on Twitter. Cheap plug. I know, right? She's the voice of Siri, and I'm like, I wonder if she just went in, just did a voiceover, didn't know what she was doing, and all of a sudden she's the voice of Siri. So it's like
for something like that, dude, they take days of samples of your voice.
Right. But if she just got paid hourly and didn't know.
Here's $10,000. Good work.
Yeah, totally. Like, hey, I got a week, $10,000. I'm going home party, and I got $10,000 for a week's worth. Why? What? I'm the global voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How did that happen?
Right. But what's going crazy these days is I wish these damn telcos and these cell phone companies and these cable companies would make up their damn minds. Everyone was unlimited data, everything, and so we used all the things. And then they decided to cap it, and everybody hated life. And now we're
unlimited. Oh wait, shit! People are actually using that. Hold on.
And now we're back to going to Panera Bread so we can log in and
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and now.
Well, but now that T-Mobile has caught up with Verizon on network availability, ping time
within 1.5%
download speeds.
Sprint too, same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I got sprunted.
Sprint's number 4.
Yeah,
it was just crazy because back in the day, T-Mobile was number 4,
right?
And now they're right at the top. And Verizon released a new unlimited plan for $45 a line.
A line for the 4 lines, but it gets. There's an asterisk and there's.
I moved me over today.
80.
Actually, I moved myself over, so my 4 devices and 2 tablets cost me $220 a month, I think, which is significantly less than what I was paying before.
But once you hit
22 gigs,
which is the industry standard. I sound like a Verizon.
According to who?
That's where all of them. That's where all of them throttle use at 22 gigs.
Goes back to turtle speed.
Well, then you get turtle speed.
Turtle speed,
and then you get your 1G, your private 1G network.
It's not nearly enough Gs.
I know.
But more Gs.
I'll be honest with you. As heavy a user as I am, I'm on my phone nonstop.
How many gigs?
Literally.
I use 8.
8? Mostly email? Or
How is that
porn?
even
No.
possible?
YouTube. I'm on SoundCloud listening to podcasts.
How is that even
gaming.
possible that you only use 8
I only
gigs of
use
data
8.
a month?
That's it. I'm on Wi-Fi at the house. I don't know.
Yeah, working from home. Yeah.
Work from home, so yeah, most of that time. But car time, I'm on podcasting nonstop.
And YouTube.
And YouTube
emails
nonstop.
And
Nonstop.
everything you're not
reading
supposed
all
to
the
be
things
doing.
nonstop.
Yeah. So the opposite of Turtle Speed would be Ludicrous Speed.
Ludicrous Speed!
Go! Which we love in Neil's car.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
I hated it.
But apparently may have been a contributing factor to an accident that happened back in November. And I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to play out because the father of a woman who died in a crash back in November
In a Tesla
is basically saying that if it was in any other car, she would have at least survived the accident. Now, keep in mind, this woman, her blood alcohol content was 0.21.
Which is 4 times the legal limit in most states, right?
3, almost. Yeah, it's usually 0.08.
Or 0.21, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
0.08's, yeah.
Math.
So 0.21. Her passenger was 0.17. And it was his car.
Just to set the stage, we did. If Detroit police are listening, we're on the Warren side.
Hypothetically speaking. Hypothetically speaking.
If Warren police are listening, we're on the Detroit side. We hit 140 in about
hypothetically speaking
5 seconds. Hypothetically speaking, we were imagining things.
I may or may not have a beautiful picture of our website up on the center console dashboard and the speedometer.
But I'm gonna call shenanigans on this guy's claim, though.
No, it's
Well,
because
'cause
the
video-
takeoff. Because when you heavy foot that thing, you're on the damn top thrill dragster at Cedar Point. Like your chest feels.
You're
pressure.
getting pushed back in the
It's
seat.
not
And
like-
I get that, but
But I've driven a vet with souped up gears. I've driven fast cars. Nothing's felt like this car.
really, Tracy Chapman, you in a fast car?
There are 24
Song
cars.
sucks. You know I hate that song.
So there are 24 production cars that do 0 to 60 times in 3.1 seconds or less. So there's, and then when you're at a 0.21 blood alcohol level, really, if your daughter wasn't drunk, she probably would not have.
Well,
gotten
and
that
my level of shenanigans goes 0.21. That's shenanigan level 1.
That is shenanigan.
Shenanigan level 2 is that they have video where she swerved trying to avoid a car going the wrong way down a one-way street. So if you want to pin the blame on somebody, let's start with 1, your daughter who was drunk. 2, the driver going the wrong way down the one-way street, which was also probably drunk. I don't really, and they're saying, there's a lot of stuff floating around about how, the investigators are having a hard time, figuring out, the whole, like how fast the car was going and all that stuff because they're not familiar with Tesla and they're not letting Tesla's engineers near anything. Which is dumb because I would think if you don't have the in-house expertise, you go to the people that do.
But let me just take a huge step back. Yeah, I've had a couple beers and taken my ass home. Usually, I try to be safe. If I own a Tesla, I'm either A, Ubering, B, I'm not walking. That thing's such a volatile vehicle. There's no way I would even have But again, you can't blame the car company. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
It's like a motorcycle. Dude, if you're on a motorcycle, you're
helmet.
having coffee.
Right.
That's our Coke. That's all there is
blood
to it.
alcohol levels that high, you're in danger walking home at that point.
Yeah. Well, so and it was her boss's car. Her boss was the passenger in the car. It was her boss's car, who apparently at 0.17 decided that his assistant at 0.21 should be driving.
That was a better choice.
He did a good job delegating.
No, we did the worst job delegating.
Where's the bell?
And the interesting part is that Tesla knows every single thing you do to that car. You push the
yeah.
accelerator, it knows. So like you said, they're keeping people from basically doing an investigation that could give you some answers.
Yeah, which yeah.
Actually, you thought the dumbest guy of the week was the first story. I think it's this one.
Oh, is this the eBay?
Yeah.
Man.
eBay's always good for this stuff. Like somebody
I hate people.
Like, Donald Trump's butthole on a piece of toast and they sell it for $50,000. This one.
I saw the Virgin Mary in a piece of toast.
Right.
Probably one guy who collects all these. He's got like an entire room full of food shaped like
There's a museum somewhere. It's happening.
Japan. Definitely.
And the funny thing is my friend had a Harambe and then the dates of his life like yesterday.
Oh, the shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but there was a Cheeto right? I'm a big fan, right? The crunchy, not the puffs. That was in the shape of Harambe.
Of a gorilla.
Well, yeah. It wasn't even of a gorilla. It was just like an odd shape.
Yeah.
And he
gorilla-like.
put it on eBay saying Harambe Cheeto, and apparently fetched $99,599.
Yeah.
$99,000 for a single Cheeto. Now, how did he pack that? That's what I want to know. Like, if I'm spending 100 G's on a Harambe Cheeto,
it shows
4 feet of bubble wrap on all sides.
So then when he gets, then he gets it and he puts it in like his glass case. There isn't like, it's not like Derek Jeter's 3,000 home
There's
run
no
ball.
resale value.
No, it's not like he can go to like auction, like Barrett Jackson's.
Can you certify this for me?
Can you imagine that phone call?
I think you're flying with the Cartier bag.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Christie's Auction House. I happen to be in possession of the Harambe Cheeto.
And a piece of toast in the shape of Donald Trump's butthole. Right. But like, there's not, I don't even see like there's nothing. It's not like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's a 56 Corvette, split, blah, blah. And now next, the Harambe Cheeto.
Harambe Cheeto.
Starting bid at $57,000.
I got nothing.
It's just, I don't understand anything anymore. Like,
No.
nothing.
So the one, and I've said this a million times, there are two things in this world.
And we can't get a sponsor for the damn network, but
yeah, no
like
shit.
Cheeto.
Buy some bags of Cheetos and start going.
We got to start hunting through the Cheetos. Two things in this life that would scare the ever living hell out of me in today's society. One is high school. Two is dating. Last
3
week,
is saying you're a Republican on a college campus. Sorry, I had to.
Last week we talked about the Tinder date that went awry. This week there was a phenomenal Craigslist date that went awry, where by the time the cops showed up, the woman had knocked this man unconscious and was planning on taking out his heart with a rather large knife. Because as she admitted to the police, her goal in life was to become a serial killer. And he was going to be victim number one.
Why didn't she put him in a bathtub of milk and shove bananas in his mouth?
Wrong cereal.
Oh, sorry.
My favorite one about this is that they basically found him at a motel. And when he called 911, he told the cops that he was seeking a date, not sex. But he then just happened to end up at a seedy motel. I don't know. It doesn't quite check out.
You know what? There's apparently a lot of first dates that happen at McDonald's. What do I know?
I'm just holding this pot for my friend.
Dude, exactly. The more, like, we have, because of, like, wrestling and that kind of stuff, we have way too many, like, early 20-somethings on our Facebook feed. And every now and then I'll see stuff about, like, how dating is hard and that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, well, like, what do you guys do on first dates? And they're like, oh, well, like, McDonald's or...
Really?
Like,
God.
like a wrestling show.
We
Stuff.
meet up with 5 of my friends and 6 of her
And
friends.
then we walk around the mall. It's teenagers.
Netflix and chill.
There's one of the lessons in that story is that apparently the lady asked him several times if he was a serial killer. And he said no. And then she climbed up on top of him and said, well, I am. Yeah, so if you're on a date, it's a little public service announcement from the ITintheD, and someone asks you 6 times in a row if you're a serial killer, you should probably not hang around.
Well, it's probably like American Psycho. What do you do? Murders and executions. And they're like,
Yeah, no. So what was that? The Richard Pryor movie, Moving. Those cabinets are great, but we're taking them all with us. Oh, yeah, that pool is great, but we're taking it with us. And then they buy the house and they get there and all the cabinets are gone. The pool is gone. Hey, we've got it on tape. We told you we were taking it.
Hey, we are going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We are going to be back with Mr. Paul Fleck from Dataspeed talking autonomous vehicles and properties of. This is the ITintheD show, and we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Life of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITintheD.com.
Welcome back, segment 2, episode 183. This is the one and only ITintheD show, broadcasting live here in Podcast Detroit, beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy, hanging out with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG. Find us online, ITintheD.com. ITintheD.com.
Hey, before we get rolling, this segment is brought to you by HostGator. And whether you're a first-time blogger or an experienced web pro, HostGator is your one-stop shop for all things web hosting. From design and marketing services to intuitive website builders, they are with you every step of the way. There are hundreds of templates to choose from, plus mobile-friendly tools. Your site's going to look great on any screen size. And because HostGator doesn't cap the amount or size of files, talking about data caps,
Go figure.
You're able to transfer or upload. The opportunities are endless. You can even create as many email addresses and forwards as you need. God knows we have like 800 on our site, so that's a good thing. Not to mention, HostGator's 24/7 friendly support is always available to assist you via live chat or email anytime you have a question. And you can even kick off your advertising budget with $100 worth of credits in Google AdWords and Yahoo Bing. There's even a 45-day money-back guarantee, so if you decide it's not for you, no problem at all. So here's what you're going to do. Go see what HostGator can do for you and your website. Go to HostGator.com/ITintheD to sign up. That's ITintheD all smooshed together. And right now, our listeners are going to get 60%, not 60% off. Just go to HostGator.com/ITintheD to check it out. And as always, thanks guys for the support. We appreciate it.
Hashtag damn.
Hashtag damn.
Seriously.
You got knocked out.
So I think we got a guest here that is completely going, what in the hell? Why did the MEDC book me? Why am I here?
He's very Admiral Stockdale-ish. Who am I? Why am I here?
I am going to kill Bob Miller from MEDC for booking me on this mess of a show.
They told me this would be good for me. I have no idea what. Yeah.
You got free beer. That's all right.
But hey, we got Paul Fleck here. He is the president and CEO of Dataspeed from Rochester Hills, Michigan. Thank you for hanging out with us. Appreciate it.
I'm having a great time. It's fun just watching you guys banter back and forth. And I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, what am I doing here and whatnot? And I'm like, okay, I guess it's my time to talk or whatever. But,
it's our favorite 2 hours of the week. We appreciate you spending time with us. Yeah. So I guess we know what you do, but I guess in your terms, let's find out what you do, and I want to dive into a whole bunch of topics.
Okay, so in a nutshell, basically, you got all this work going on in driverless cars, which, Google started it out, and thank God for Google, because if they weren't around, then I probably wouldn't have a job today, because they kind of pushed the technology, and they came out with a driverless car, and they started, pushing it forward, and everybody kind of got on board with it. They had to, like the tier ones and the OEMs. They had to. It's because here's Google. What are they doing a driverless car? What are they doing in the automotive sector, even to begin with? And and the reason they're doing it, Google, what is it? Do no evil, see no evil.
Wasn't it?
They dropped that actually.
Yeah, and come on, guys, let's get real. They're in it for the money. They're a California company, heavily invested and whatnot. The reason that they want driverless car technology out there is, hey, you're doing a 2-hour commute, and they help control the technology. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? All right, they're going to market to you. All right, that's why they're doing driverless cars. All right, that's why they're
really. It's not so I can just say, "Go home, car. I'm drunk."
No. Well, that's kind of a side event, but
it's so you can say this ride home is brought to you by HostGator.
You'd be like, "Go home, car. I'm drunk." And then they start marketing like alcohol
or Taco Bell, right? They swing you by Taco Bell 4 times.
Yeah, you're hungry, right? You're drunk. Swing you by Taco Bell.
Hey, is KFC open?
And here's some,
Hey, go home, car. I'm drunk. There are 37 fast food restaurants between here and home.
So what's Dataspeed doing in this space?
So what we did is we recognized, years ago that, hey, this whole thing with driverless cars is going to take off, and they need test platforms. So we were doing some work with Ford Motor Company, and they had a very good product, based on basically the MKZ platform and the Fusion. They're basically the same car, different skins. And
don't let Lincoln ever hear you say that.
No, sorry, Lincoln. Nice car, The plastic is much better in an MKZ than it is a Fusion.
He is running.
And if you take the hybrid version of that vehicle, it's what we term by-wire amenable, and what that means is it's got the actuation systems in place to control the steering, the throttle, the brake, and the shift. So with that, we designed a whole bunch of electronics and tie it into that vehicle. We throw a computer in there, and we can give you an Xbox controller, and you can drive that vehicle around. You can drive in a parking lot with a the steering, the brake. You can control the brake and do all these fancy things.
I want that right now.
I know. And now it's like, well, how much fun can you have with that? Well, you might play with it for half an hour and then you're done with it. But really,
no.
The engineers. So now I'm an engineer and I got nothing but engineers that work for me, and we're all great engineers and we have fun doing this stuff. But other engineers, they see that and they're like, okay, if you can do that with an Xbox controller, if we throw our little camera on the roof of the car or our LiDAR and we throw a little computer in the back and we write some algorithms, we tie into your system, then we can make a driverless car. So what it is they do that. Customers like NVIDIA, Intel, Dura, Denso, Ford uses our stuff, Faraday Future, Teva, a whole bunch of companies, QNX, they all have technology that they want to develop and sell to the OEMs. They want to sell to GM, Ford, Chrysler, the Germans, the Japanese. They need a platform to test this stuff on. So we provide this platform that they can throw their little widget on a car, write their software, develop this thing, and demonstrate it to their customers. So, engineers, we're very skeptical. We've heard it all before. We're like, show me. You've got technology that works, show me. And the best way to show this technology is to show it in a car on the road running. So we provide the technology that allows them to do that, like the car and the
Dave, you got your dream. These are the guys that are writing the code.
Yeah.
No kidding.
We do other things too. We actually write algorithms. I can take you in a parking lot and hit the go button and a car will drive autonomously down the road using LiDAR, SLAM algorithms and GPS and things like that. So
one of the questions I always had, because I have so many questions about the whole code thing, but one of the questions that always comes up with something like this is, you guys are the engineers that are making the practical decisions about this is what kind of equipment this vehicle needs. How much of a challenge is it dealing with the designers and the marketing side of the world? Well, you can't put that camera there. That looks ugly. It breaks up the lines of the car. We want it to look a certain way, and you can't have that there.
I want to put an air conditioning knob right there. You can't put a camera there.
So, there's companies like Ibeo. They make probably the most important sensor on a car, which, by the way, Tesla didn't have, and that's why they killed somebody. It's a LiDAR. It's a scanning laser.
Right.
They were using only video, basically, right? There was a bright light, and the cameras couldn't see it. And
they were using video only with radar, and those two modalities are called. They're not sufficient to perceive everything that car needs to perceive. All right,
it was the white truck, wasn't it?
Well, what it was?
No, it was the blue truck that blended into the sky.
What it is was that truck when it turned washed out against the background.
Yeah.
And every engineer that deals with vision knew that. And it was funny it's not really funny because the guy died.
Not funny, haha, more, hey, this smoke smells funny.
Like 2 weeks before that, I was talking with other engineers that deal with this stuff, and we're waiting for something to happen with this vehicle. And sure enough, this car didn't see that semi. So if it can't see it, it doesn't perceive it as an obstacle to stop, so it drove right underneath the semi and took the top of the car off. And
that's the worst part. Every time a situation, and I've said this once, I've said it a million times, that every time something like that happens, there's some engineer somewhere going, damn it, I told you.
Well,
so I guess that's, how much, and I guess I'll get a little bit deeper now, like from a coding perspective, like how insane is that? Because my whole take on this has always been, you listen to, everybody down at the auto show this year and, there's going to be autonomous cars on the road, 2021. And my whole thing is you know what? Yeah, if you could do a clean sweep and get all of the human driven cars off the road at once and replace them all with autonomous cars, I think that would be great. But as long as you have us idiots behind the wheel of cars trying to coexist with, autonomous vehicles is going to be a problem.
I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way because these are safety features that, and the closest analogy I'll use is cruise control. All right, when you turn cruise control you turn it on under the right conditions. You're on highway driving. You want to kick back and relax. You turn it on, and the car regulates its speed. Now they have what's called intelligent cruise control, which will use radar, which allows you to keep a distance from the front. You're not going to turn it on in city traffic
or bumper to bumper traffic.
Yeah,
right?
you
Dude,
know
no
when
joke.
to turn it on.
My grandfather was a marketing guy at Chrysler. I think it was Chrysler back in the day, and loved to tell the story about when the minivan first came out, and it was one of the first cars with cruise control. Guy put on cruise control and went in the back to play with kids.
Right, because he thought it was like some automatic feature. Right. It's like the guy, who didn't understand why when he hit the CD player, he thought it was a cup holder. I mean,
Right.
like my computer broke because I put a coffee in it and it broke it.
And that's the thing.
It's not a cup holder; it's a CD.
Right. Yeah, they do that in computers too. They do it for years.
Goofy things like that.
But it's one of those things I don't think we're ready for Johnny Cab yet, where we're getting in the back seat where no one's up front. If you're gonna if I'm going to Chicago, I can hit the cruise button and let the thing go.
Well, and
I'm all in.
Under the right conditions, you'll turn this thing on just like your cruise control, and it will regulate driving, and you'll be safe, working with it. And you're not going to do it. I mean, you'd be crazy to do it in a raging snowstorm, all right, where you can't see. Why would you trust a computer to do that? I mean, you don't do dumb things with the technology when it's introduced. I mean,
but doesn't Uber want that to happen?
We're people.
Yeah.
We do dumb things. It's like I said, that's the part that worries me.
And that is one of the worries that's out there because, you have engineers that are writing IT. Let's talk IT, software and algorithms. That's the most important and the most difficult problem to solve. The hardware is there to solve this problem. It's there. The sensors.
It's
the
who gets sued.
Platforms. Well, and it's the algorithm. The most difficult problem is the algorithms and the software. And the machine learning, the deep learning algorithms, the artificial intelligence that's going to go into these things. Somebody is making decisions on the software, the structure, the coding that goes into it. Somebody's making a decision on what that car is going to do under certain events.
Who gets sued?
Yeah, who owns the code?
That's what I keep coming back to is, you're driving on the road, 3-lane road, and a tree falls across the road, and your car has to make a decision of slam into tree, hit Hummer next to you that has one person in it, or hit smart car with a family of 4 in it on the other side. Whatever decision it makes, who gets sued for making that decision?
Personally, I think, the autonomous car, its primary objective is to protect the occupants within the car.
Yeah, it was RoboCops 2, and look how that worked out.
That's it. And then anything else that happens beyond that is collateral damage. Sorry, it's a bad day to be out on the road. Shit happens. I mean, people die all the time driving. You can't control every situation.
But this is America.
And trying to sit there and regulate that or make those type of decisions, it's like ABS, all right? Yeah. ABS is a technology that's out there that it's safe. It's a safer technology. You're safer with cars with ABS than without it because people in panic situations are not going to regulate this. They're not going to know how to stop that car.
Right.
But the computer doesn't panic. It will do its best to stop that car given the environment that it's in. Does it fail sometimes or does it not always? Is it not always optimum? Yeah, all right. And, if you're caught up in that situation, well, it's a bad day to be driving. But overall, statistically, it's a better technology to have. And that's the way to look at what goes on for autonomous, when we roll out autonomous driving. It's not gonna work under every situation, but statistically, overall, it's better technology to run.
Well, and here's my question. So you're building the test bed for people to evaluate, to do add-ons and that stuff. Now, we talked before the show, and I'm with ERC. We do a lot of remanufacturing. So we get the vehicles further down the food chain when they got 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 miles on it, and we remanufacture a lot of the electronics that go in the vehicle. Are these companies that are looking at autonomous vehicle, looking at what happens to the systems after Joe's Garage works on it, after it's been in a couple of fender benders? after other people have had their fingers in it, is that the next phase of it?
Well, and I think that actually gets into a story that we talked about a couple weeks ago, where now you've got this whole almost a DRM-like system coming down, where the OEMs are trying to say you can't bring your car to Joe's mechanic to get it worked on. You must go back to dealership.
But you've got such stiff right to repair laws in the U.S., and with good reason, right? Because you don't want to force people to go one place and give somebody a monopoly. They got to have an opportunity.
Well, it's not. You don't. You never have a monopoly because you have multiple dealerships you can take it to, and they'll compete for your business. So you don't have a monopoly. All right. These will be complex enough systems, especially with the sensing systems, that they need to be aligned on the vehicle. They need to be calibrated. They need to work properly.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I don't want to bring it over to my buddy and buy him a case of beer.
If the eyes of the vehicle aren't working right, the vehicle doesn't see. Right. So, do you want Joe's mechanic to be messing with your system? I mean,
Hey, I got a case of beer. Can you come over here and recalibrate my laser guidance on my
I think my LiDAR is about 4 feet off. I got a case of Pabst for you.
Can you turn up the voltage on that LiDAR? Maybe it'll see farther, right? Or my car will drive faster. Why don't we do that?
They're doing your ABS units today. So.
Right.
And while you do it, can you put some spinner hubcaps on my car?
Fix my LiDAR and give me some spinners.
Yeah. Hey, upgrade it to a Pentium, 6 at the time, right?
This is Detroit. Have you driven down the Davison Lane?
Every time I get off, right there off of 96.
So we've been hearing this 3 years now that this is going to be a thing. When is it? I mean, is this going to be a gradual?
Okay,
could it be a thing, or are we all of a sudden the 2019 Ford is going to be completely self-driving?
They brought him into Uber, brought him into Frisco, and then got back
Pittsburgh
within a week. Yeah,
it's kind of interesting because we sell enabling technology, we sell a development system. We deal with a lot. I see a lot out in the world, and it's going to happen quicker than I thought. I mean, I was a skeptic. I'm just a skeptic. I'm an engineer. I've seen it all. I've heard it all. I've been in the automotive industry since 1985, and I've seen it all. I've heard it all, and it's coming about even faster than I thought. You got, take Ford Motor Company. They made a big commitment. There's $150 million put into a company called Velodyne. Baidu put $75 million, Ford threw another $75 million just to build one sensing element, the LiDAR that goes with it. There's startups out in California that are competing against Velodyne to build the next sensor, a solid state LiDAR, and there's things I can't even talk about. You got
just
you got
from my work
silicon
there
manufacturers.
I know,
You got NVIDIA. What's NVIDIA doing in the driverless space?
Well, they're a better graphics card.
They make graphics cards. Well, you got a GPU that can do a hell of a lot of processing. Well, guess what? It can take video, process it, run it through a deep learning algorithm, and that can be the brains behind your car. All right. So NVIDIA, I think they've got about 5 cars built on technology that Dataspeed's developed, and they're going to probably buy more. So you got NVIDIA duking it out. And then you got Intel. They used to be in the automotive space, and then they got tired of it. They got tired of getting beat up by the OEMs. They're like, we can make more money selling a Pentium and an i7 and an i5. But now they're jumping back into it. And then you've got a company called Renesas, all right? All these guys are going to duke it out for the silicon, all right, the brains behind it. Then you've got companies like QNX and other middleware software companies. They want their piece, all right? And then you've got the sensor companies. You got all these guys. They see basically billions of dollars out there of potential to, participate in this.
Gee, if only there were open facilities in space, they could set up shop in Michigan and not Silicon Valley.
That's right. Michigan's a great flyover state, for the venture capitalists. Like Michigan, it's like, hey, they consider Michigan a flyover state. We fly over from California to New York.
Yep. Or D.C. for a regulatory meeting.
We look at you guys and we wave, all right?
Gets bumpy over the lake for just a second.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe the politicians need to do something about that. I don't know, or some help there, but...
What do you think about? You've got all these manufacturers, all these people making things. Google has its own platform.
Right.
They reduced the price by 90% a couple months ago. What do you think about standardization? Do you think it's going to converge into one or two standards, or do you think it'll be
for autonomous driving?
Yeah, for like DVD versus HD DVD.
No, I don't see it. If you look, all right, so let's take the automobile. I mean, really, when you get down to it, for the value, I mean, for the money you spend, it's the highest. You get the greatest value of any commercial product probably in the world in an automobile. I mean, where else do you sit there and you take, you leave it outside for 10 years and you let it get rained on, snowed on, and it works 10 to 15 years. And, it's $20,000, $30,000, but it's relatively cheap for what
you can sleep in your car, but you can't drive your house.
But to do that, they're highly engineered, optimized systems that, if you look at Ford, GM, Chrysler, Audi, BMW, Nissan, any of these companies, those electronic architectures, they're optimized, all right? And they're not open architectures. They're not some generic thing. They all do it a very particular optimized way. And a lot of it gets down to the cost of the products, because, the bill of materials cost, I mean, that drives the cost for any automobile.
Sure.
And, they're all going to choose an architecture to optimize the cost. And they don't do it generically. It's not like the PC industry where we're going to choose this open architecture.
Well, they have different skill sets too. I mean, we remanufacture almost everybody's electronics, so we get to see CAN messaging from everybody.
They're all different,
company,
right?
And
they're all different.
They have styles. They have their own styles. Mm-hmm. They have their own languages in some cases where once they get behind the CAN messages, they move into the other systems like an Audi. We're working on some Audi stuff right now, and there's different wake-up messages that are unique to Audi. And,
Well, but at some point it almost has to get to God, I hate to date myself, but like it almost has to get to like an EDI-like platform where, you can have your own proprietary stuff in-house and that's great, but when you're going to communicate with the outside world, here's the standard by which you must adhere. And this is the we're all.
I'm assuming
IEEE, and we're all going to agree on this.
No, I'm assuming IEEE has that working on that something.
I don't know. I think you're going to get them telling you our autonomous is better than these guys' autonomous. Ours reacts.
But then it shoots itself in the foot. You can't because
wireless has
no. When you get to the outside world, I mean, you got to. I mean, a browser, right? I mean, it all it's standardized.
Yeah,
the internet's standardized.
Ethernet, Wi-Fi. That's all standard.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But you can't have where the Fords, Ford cars don't talk to Chrysler cars and they don't interact. You can't have that.
I bet you IEEE has something.
And the other thing, the other thing that's going on is called, it's a whole infrastructure, vehicle to vehicle, and vehicle to V2I, vehicle to infrastructure, and then, those will be all based on standards.
Yeah.
So that because part of the autonomous vehicles is one vehicle communicating with another vehicle, all right, through what's called DSRC, digital short range communications. And you'll have one vehicle that will be talking to another vehicle, all right. And the reason that you want to do that is each vehicle can be transmitting its position in its trajectory, right? And they're all talking, and two vehicles can realize that if they don't change what they're doing, they're going to be on a collision course, all right? And that's probably a very important safety feature, all right? And to do that, you have to be built, you can have different pieces of hardware, different pieces of software, but they will follow the same standard to communicate.
You still have to have HTML for a web browser.
That's solved right now, with the internet and communications. People solve that stuff all the time, so...
We could talk about this all night, but we're bumping up on a break. We gotta cut you loose. But where do we find you online, and where do we see what's next?
So our website, Dataspeed Inc., dataspeedinc.com. We've got some great videos. We also do some work in collaborative robots, which is the other great change that's going to go on. It's going to change, flexible manufacturing, the use of automation in America. Hopefully bring back jobs to the United States through automation. So dataspeedinc.com.
Cool. Awesome.
Paul, you're
I could
welcome.
give you my
This is one
phone
of those
number.
chats, man.
but
Like,
I'll
we
do
can sit
that.
here and have this chat all night. Like, we're going to need to have you back.
Yeah. We'd love to
Assuming
have
we
you
haven't
back.
scared you off.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys, I mean, you guys got some pretty good beer here. So all right.
You guys aren't that bad assholes. Just a little bit.
He'll be back next week when the Irish Red gets tapped.
Right, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Paul Fleck, CEO of Dataspeed. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Mike from the Great Lakes Comic-Con talking about this awesome guest lineup going on. This is the IT and the D show, and we'll be right back.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D show.
ITintheD.com.
Welcome back. This is segment 3, episode 183. This is the IT and the D show, broadcasting here in Podcast Detroit, beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan.
Discussing our mutual love of 80s music.
And properties of 80s music. This is Bob, the sales guy, hanging out with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG. Find us online, ITintheD.com.
Yeah, and don't forget, Thursday, we'll be at Hamlin Corner, 5 o'clock till whenever. That's the scoop.
Question mark.
Yeah.
Giving Uber all our money.
Pretty much. Well, they need it because they're building new facilities. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, boy.
And they're getting sued by people in France.
Yes, if they win their lawsuit.
But hey, we got one of our old friends sitting in studio. Thank you for being patient with us and listening to our garbage.
No problem.
We have Mike DeSantis here, who is the proprietor of the Great Lakes Comic-Con, and which is coming up very shortly. We'll get to those details, but thank you for hanging out with us.
Proprietor makes it sound so official.
CEO. President, CEO, you know.
Yes. Well, my wife is the president. We've already had that.
Ah, okay.
I'm VP.
You had to get the LLC. We know.
There you go. Yep.
Female-owned company.
Yeah. right.
She's listening now. She'll love that one.
So your show's always held at, or at least it has been as of late. At,
February. This is our 4th year at MCC, South Campus.
12 Mile High.
Bob's alma mater.
Proud alumni.
Yes.
Hoot, hoot. Go Monarchs.
Wait, are they butterflies?
No, they're
Do they have a
monarchs.
war cry?
No.
Wouldn't that just be flap, flap?
I don't know what butterflies say. I'm thinking Mothra.
That'll be the guest for next year.
Oh, Mothra.
We'll work on that one.
Nice.
Mothra.
Right.
Mothra, not Mothra.
Right. So you kind of outdone yourself this year. When I saw,
We went last year and we had a great time. We wound up hanging out. We were sitting right next to the guy that created Qbert, which was amazing. I had a great time talking with Larry Kenny. Who? Well, I knew him as the voice of London, and so and we suck at this. We sometimes we do because we don't do any prep for guests, and so when he sat down with us, we had no idea he was also the voice of Count Chocula.
Mm-hmm.
He was but he was the best week ever guy. Like, hey, this is Monday, April the 4th, and this is the best week ever on V. And we were like, oh my God, we love you.
Well, the thing, he made that comment, and we'll get to the guests that are coming, but he made the comment, this is why I love doing these things. The look on your face right now when I just announced that I did this, I was in complete shock and awe. Oh my God, it's amazing. I love you. Hold me.
We'd like to buy you all the drinks all weekend long, please.
We had people come to the show with Count Chocula cereal boxes.
Oh my!
For him to sign. So you didn't think of that one?
No, we didn't know.
And there I was with my Lion-O action figure. That did it for me. But yeah, it's good stuff.
I mean, this year you've kind of outdone yourself.
Okay, yeah.
I'll put you on that.
Yeah, well, sure. Well, the goal every year is to, how do you up the game?
Sure.
And it's funny because we're already talking about 2018, and it's just 2 weeks away.
That's why we hate ourselves for the pink slip parties, Bob.
Right.
No, and it's not necessarily the pop culture fest. I think you take art a little bit more seriously than a lot of the other cons do. Mm-hmm. And I think you focused on that, where you have some big hitters that are creators of some of the more well-known.
We're actually trying to fashion this as a collector's show in a sense. Now, of course,
Mike, I'm teeing you up to drop names on the artist.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Well, Bob from ITintheD will be there.
That's right. Podcast Detroit will be in the house.
Podcast Detroit will be there. But yeah, so it's 2 weeks away approximately, right?
Yeah.
February 4th, 25th.
Yeah, so not this weekend, next weekend.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And at MCC, as always, South Campus. The slate of guests we have, and you're right. I mean, it's just we get in touch with one who leads us to another, et cetera, to where we got to kind of cut this off and put a pause on it. The big one this year, and when we talked about the 80s during the break, last year the theme was the 80s. That's why we had Larry Kenny there, Sergeant Slaughter, and a few others. This year, the theme actually is
Sergeant Slaughter.
Spider-Man theme is what we're going for.
Okay.
55-year anniversary of Spider-Man. The movie comes out, in July this year.
Last year was G.I. Joe, the cover.
So, yes, the G.I. Joe cover. We have a Spider-Man variant this year. And it's more the thing of, and not just to say you have to be a collector to go, of course. It's open to anybody who's interested in coming to see, the art, as you said, comic books. We've got Jake the Snake Roberts coming, world wrestling icon there.
Have you ever seen his documentary, not to take a side note?
No, I have not.
It's really cool.
I need to buy, I know it's on Netflix.
It's the resurrection of Jake the Snake. It's an amazing...
I will watch it before I pick him up from the airport.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It'll tell you, it's the way they put it together, it's a phenomenal watch. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, just a life fan, it's a great story.
Absolutely.
It's cool how his friends kind of folded around him and picked him back up, and a lot of other people in the process. It's kind of a story of redemption. It's really cool.
Doesn't matter what walk of life, you know it.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things where, and so as I mentioned a few guests here, as I mentioned, and you guys had me out last year, I had a great time. And one I use for this barometer check, I always say to people, it's people that I want to meet. And it just works out well that others are interested too, because they come to the show, of course.
You, Mark.
Yeah, I know,
That's why we go to cons.
Yeah,
we buy booths at cons because it gives us an excuse to get in early.
Right.
And get them at our table.
Park them close.
And it's funny because one of the ones I see as like the headliner, other than Jake the Snake, of course, we've got Nicholas Hammond coming to the show. And typically when I say that, the response is, oh, Nicholas Hammond. And there's a pause there because they're thinking, who is this?
What cover did he do for X-Men?
Yeah, exactly. And for those of us,
I know who that is.
You don't know who that is?
No, I know who that is.
Yeah, and for those of us who I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and there was a live-action Spider-Man show on CBS. And it was very, I can't even use the word campy. It wasn't campy. It was just...
It was way past campy.
It was Batman back in the day.
Yeah,
it's that same genre. Yeah.
Who's the actor that was in that?
Nicholas Hammond.
Peter Parker / Spider-Man. And so we're going with the Spider-Man theme. And of course, my budget isn't, I can't afford, Tom Holland or Andrew Garfield, the current people, of course.
Tobey Maguire isn't coming out,
There you go. But I thought it'd be cool to bring in Nicholas Hammond. And other things you may know him from, he was one of the Von Trapp kids in The Sound of Music. Cool. He was Friedrich Von Trapp. The other claim to fame, which makes me laugh a little bit, is that famous Brady Bunch episode.
I'm blasting So Long Farewell of me saying
gets
goodnight
hit
all
in the
weekend.
nose with the football.
Oh, yeah?
And breaks her nose. Well, he's the jock that she's supposed to go to the dance with, and then he dumps her because
is
of
he
the
on
nose.
that episode?
So that's him.
He's the jock.
Oh, my God.
There you go, Bob. But I was very excited about that, so I mentioned that to people. They're like, oh, that was the guy who played, Spider-Man.
Sign of football. It's amazing.
That has come up as well. And that's something that's, when these guests come in, it's like, what am I going to get them to sign? Yeah. Is it the Chocula box of cereal or Count Chocula, or is it the football, right? But that's one we're excited about. The second one is Paul Soules, which again, I kind of look around for the expression on people's faces here. He did the voice of Spider-Man in the 1967.
Who is he?
Okay, Dave's excited.
Who is he?
He was... we all know the theme song to that one, right?
Right.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider.
I don't care about that one.
Oh, are you getting to the Rudolph? No, wait, where are you at for Paul? Are you on Paul Soules or someone else?
Which one?
I'm on Paul Soules.
Okay, well, he is going to be...
He doesn't want to make toys. He wants to be a dentist.
Yes, he's the voice of Hermie the Elf from 1964, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I want to be a dentist.
I'm buying him all the drinks.
Look at that. So,
have you ever been to Cavans?
And as I said, we really try to make an effort to bring people in who have either not been in the area for years or maybe never have.
Sure.
And I think that's trying to, talk about like creating a brand for our, image here with the Great Lakes Comic-Con. We're really trying to have it as a show where people are like, hey, I need to go to see this guy because I don't know if he'll be in the area
Mike,
again.
You're appealing to the people that have money.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Right. If you're
come on down.
Well, and it's not, and for what it is, it is what it is. We also do, Motor City Comic Con and some of the other ones. Motor City Comic Con gets a little pushback because a lot of people have started to compare it to a flea market, where there's so much stuff and it's all about the sales and it's all about that. Whereas, dude, your show is a good size. I'm ashamed to admit how much money I spent last year buying all of the etched glasses that I bought from some of the vendors and that kind of stuff.
I bought that Boba Fett Shogun.
You bought the Shogun? Yes, you did.
I spent way too much money last year.
So I mean, it's like that's what I like about these shows is that it's at shows like this that you do find guests like this, and you do find stuff like this that are just
We still talk about last year, like to this day. All the other shows we've ever been to, that's the one we talk about. Just for Larry Kenny and for the Kuber guy. That was our favorite. Like honestly, those are one of the favorite conversations I think we've had
at a
in the history of the show.
Easily.
20 years from now, they're going to go to Bob's house on Pickers and come up with all this memorabilia.
Totally.
Well, actually, what was really cool.
Grandpa died here. He'd have his shit.
When I walked into the building today, I was talking to Bob about this. I mean, you've got the Lion-O Thundercats framed picture on the wall.
Damn right we do.
Kenny. Just looking around at all the stuff. You pointed out the Kubert picture on the wall, and
we didn't do that for you.
Was, you're welcome.
Right, we didn't do it just because you were coming.
Oh, the roll's up.
They're here.
I'm kidding. It was really cool. It was really
and Bethany's come over and put that shirt on from last year. Pull out the sweater.
I was walking into my own basement. I'm like, I got that on my wall in my basement. I got that one on the wall in my basement. So it was pretty neat. One more name drop, and then
please.
Looking for the responses on the faces. Jim Shooter. So you got to be
not Jim Shooter.
Jim Shooter.
You're kidding me.
Okay, so I'll name drop Stan Lee. James Stan Lee, who will not be at the show, right? Can't afford him. But Stan Lee was the head of Marvel Comics for the longest time. Well, Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief from 1978 to 87, will be at the show. So he editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics in that time frame.
Cool.
So I don't know how many here are comic book collectors. I look around the table.
Medium.
Yeah.
My kid is.
Yeah. Jim Shooter, huge influence on the industry, whether it was at Marvel Comics. Afterwards, Valiant, again, maybe some of your listeners have heard of this, was started by Shooter. Defiant Comics, and several different comic book companies.
Well, and one of your guests we're gunning for.
Uh-oh. Which one?
Dirk Manning.
Oh, boy. Isn't everybody done?
Dirk Manning.
Dirk is wonderful.
You know you're listening.
Who is he?
We're coming for the karaoke con belt, Dirk.
Yes.
I won it last year, and he wouldn't give me the belt. That's fixed.
He ducked us at Fantasticon. We're coming for the belt.
That's fixed. I sang "Careless Whisper" to Tara Reid on my knees. On my knees.
He did. It was a beautiful serenade.
He would not give me the belt.
There's some things you probably can't unhear.
It was a horrible rendition, but for karaoke, it's perfect.
Beautiful. So I guess the easy important stuff. Like, so how much are tickets? And for those that don't know where the college is, where's it located at? That sort of thing.
Well, Macomb Community College South Campus, 12 Mile and Hayes in Warren.
Plenty of parking.
Plenty of parking.
Tons.
It's actually an awesome facility. It is wonderful in terms of parking, the size of the facility. There's even room for us to grow a little bit more. We still don't use the entire venue yet. We're actually at about 75% of the venue. So there's more to grow if we need to. But it is Friday, February 24th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. We call that our preview night. $10 admission for Friday night. Saturday from 10 in the morning till 6 p.m. Also $10 admission, or you can get both days for $15.
It's so reasonable. Compared to all the stuff we deal with.
I'd say it's the best value in Comic-Cons.
Well, if I can throw something else out, everyone who pays for admission gets a chance to win. That's something else that we do here is we're trying to actually make this our thing in a sense. We give away high-value key comic books. We have a $500 comic book we're giving away on Saturday at about 5 p.m. If you've heard of Harley Quinn, she's pretty hot right now with Suicide Squad.
She's just pretty hot.
It's kind of creepy for a fictional character.
Is she number one?
It's her first appearance.
Hey, target demographic. Right. Don't judge.
Which is Batman Adventures number 12.
Very good. Is that Google, or did you know that?
I'm on your website.
Is that
cheated.
So
even I was going to be impressed. I'm not going to lie.
And Friday night we have one as well. We have Spider-Man 194 First Black Cat worth $200. So there's an incentive there other than, hey, come to the show, but you win some stuff.
Well, and not only that, so, I mean, like, you've got the giveaways and you've got all the stuff that's going on. You've also got just taking a look. So you've got a free play arcade. That's going to be set up.
Big Toys of Sterling Heights. There's the plug there at 14 Inbound. But yes, he'll be there. Nick will be there, and Matt. They bring in the machines, and it's free play. I mean, just don't hog the machine.
They might have stuff we need to buy.
Will the Ghostbusters be across the way from us and play the same 4 songs
Probably.
on repeat
the
all weekend?
Ghostbusters are almost right next to you at the show.
Oh,
of course
amazing.
they are.
I can't wait.
Of course they are. We get to be Ghostbuster bukkakied again this year
And
with their
got the
foam.
501st will be there, the R2 builders, and lots of cool stuff to see. People in costume contests.
Well, and so then folks that are...
Sorry. I was saying anything for the last year you had the monster...
the Grimlock.
Yes,
he's coming, but he's not bringing that.
Okay.
He's doing more
that was
the minions and things of that sort. They'll be dressed up and costuming around.
So, and you've got you see you've got board gaming going on. You've got some Magic the Gathering tournaments, that sort of thing. So, I mean, just 97 levels of nerddom is adhered to
we've
there.
Got something for everybody at the show. And like I said, even if you're not a collector, there's some really cool things to see between the vendors and the guests. We really just think it's worth the trip.
Well, and honestly, like that's one of the things. Like I said, I mean, I wound up blowing like at least $100 on those. Wait,
isolate that.
Wait, that'll never get us. I wound up spending.
By the way, it's a kid-friendly, family-friendly show.
I'm not gay, but $20 is $20.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's right. But no, like the edge glasses and that. So like even the vendors that aren't like comic book vendors and that kind of stuff, they still have some very cool stuff that people that are into this. Like you don't have just random schmucks showing up to set up a table and hey, buy my insurance package. No, like people are basically
we really do.
Yeah,
they have to be somehow related to the genre, characters of some kind. You know, if you make necklaces, that's cool, but it better have Spider-Man on it or Batman or some other copyright infringement. Just joking about that one. But it's a joke. It's a joke.
So if you're not doing something that'll get you sued, we're not interested.
Yes. But really, I mean, we've been approached as, I understand this. People are like, oh, you get, 5,000 people plus through, which for us is really good. It's like, well, yeah. Oh, well, I want a booth for this. It's like, no, vitamin water. No, we're not doing that. Nothing against, that's all bad, but we try to get people in there that are going to lend to the atmosphere, if you will, of what we're trying to do, which is a Comic-Con.
If you're worried about it, like we could bring a kegerator if you want atmosphere. I mean, I'm just saying.
Family friendly.
We're more interesting after a few beers anyway. I mean, come on.
No, very cool. So we're planning on we're going to set up shop. We'll be there all weekend. I know we've got at least 5 or 6 shows that are going to come out and do live broadcasts as well as us. And of course, I'm sure we'll be cornering guests and bringing them over to our table throughout the weekend as well. Yeah. And then, of course, the inevitable after parties.
Hopefully, Jake the Snake likes podcasters, unlike Sergeant Slaughter.
Or Sergeant Slaughter's agent. Yeah, he has a different agent than Sergeant Slaughter, right?
Yes.
We'll be polite.
We're always polite.
Yes, good guys. I need to plug one more or 2 more things.
Please, absolutely.
All right. Well, something for those of you who are into the Netflix series, we've had Luke Cage has been on there.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist is coming out soon. For those of you who are into the Luke Cage series, one of the characters on Luke Cage. Did you guys watch Luke Cage?
Yeah,
good. Misty Knight. One of the characters on Luke. No, she's not coming. Don't get your hopes up. However, the creators of Misty Knight. You went, like I'm going to meet, yes.
Hey, you know that hot girl? Not her. It's her wardrobe assistant.
The other one.
It's her Uber driver.
Oh, boy. But the creators of the character Misty Knight.
Okay.
Arvell Jones, Tony Isabella, they will be there.
No, we've met him at previous cons.
Yes. A local guy, too. So he will be there. I'm sorry, they'll both be there. Basically, and they'll do a panel about their character, how they created. They both played a role with Iron Fist, which is the next Netflix series coming out. So they've got some history with that character as well. And so just, I guess, take the time to come out. Kids 10 and under are free.
And we're looking forward to doing our podcasting panel as well. I mean,
you didn't ask.
We didn't ask.
Did you have a podcasting panel?
I do. We do.
2018?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depends on who we can bring along with us.
True.
Probably.
Yeah.
You guys know who I'm talking about. Top secret until 2018. So
cool. Was that it? Anything else?
One more thing. I can keep going. I have a whole list.
Go. Do your thing. This is your time.
Okay, so Keith Pollard, and I can't mention every single guest. We have lots of guests, though. However, Keith Pollard did Spider-Man. Back again, Spider-Man theme. We're trying to bring in as many Spider-Man people who worked on the property. Did a cover for the first appearance of the Black Cat, which was back in the 1970s. From what I'm seeing online, everyone's going to know who the Black Cat is probably next year or the year after. They were talking about having her be in the next Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
So everyone will know the Black Cat. Well, he originally did a cover.
So now you can be all hipster upstairs and be like, we had it before it was cool.
Exactly. Before everyone wanted it. No, he's a great guy. But we have a variant cover done by Marvel Comics. It was published in January. They're actually sitting at my house right now, and those are going to be offered at the show. The cover to that comic book is the original cover that Keith did back in 1979 for the Black Cat's first appearance. However, the editors didn't quite think it fit, so they didn't publish it. They published a different one. So it's the unpublished Keith Pollard cover, which to the collectors, that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
That here you've been waiting, approximately 30 years here, if my math is right.
That's like a mistake figure.
Now it is published, and it's been doing, pre-sales have been awesome. We have 3,000 of them. So it's something that even if you're not a collector, you want to come and get a copy of this.
Wow.
Cool.
So anyway, that's my final plug.
Awesome.
Tickets can be purchased online. And
what's the website?
GreatLakesComicCon.org. O-R-G. Comic Con. 2 C's are in there.
2 C's.
Got
Got
it. 2 C's, Bob.
It's Comic Con.
That's I always
Some do that.
I always mess. I still.
You should wonder if the Cold War is still here. I don't know. I don't know.
This I can't be reached.
It's CC because they take credit cards.
And the rumor is that when Dave purchases these items, he doesn't make eye contact with the vendors. But that's another story. We're going to take a quick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Look forward to spending time with you in a couple weeks. We're going to come back with PT Muldoon from ERC talking automotive and poetry and published author and all the things.
The ITintheD Poetry Slam segment.
This is the ITintheD show, and we will be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hey guys, it's Time Hawk, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the ITintheD show.
ITintheD.com.
Welcome back, segment 4, episode 183. This is the ITintheD show, broadcasting live here, Studio One Podcast, Detroit. Beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the Sales Guy, Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG. Woo! Find us online, ITintheD.com. Nuri, we decided Nuri, we might have a contest. Pick Nuri's new title because we've decided the FNG.
We need a new acronym for Nuri.
Yeah,
He's been pick my new title.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll announce it next week in the beginning of the segment, and we'll say Nuri needs a new title. Pick it. Because the FNG, you can't be the friendly new guy for a year and it's time.
He still is.
We'll get you new.
We haven't got another new guy.
We'll get you. We'll get you business cards. New business cards with a new title. Well, yeah, let's have a Pick Nuri's title contest. Winner gets passes to the Great Lakes Comic Con or something.
Get free tickets to our 200 show.
$20 free tickets. Yeah, if that's a go. Yeah. But hey, Pat, thank you for hanging out. So we got Pat Muldoon in the house. He's been a patient guest, third timer.
I'd love to go last.
And it's the only guest we'll ever allow to bring in a 10-gallon Stetson, and you wear that so well. I just need to point that out.
Too.
He does.
Right.
He's gonna beat my ass after this.
Your ass. Gonna beat you like a rented mule, boy.
10-gallon Stetson, cowboy boots, and a mustache. Yeah, I'm done.
And I came to hawk my poetry book.
You totally did. So the last time you were on here, like Dave wasn't lying. You surprised you were talking about automotive and the remanufacturing world and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I'm busting out a poem. We're like, what? And you went out and got a book deal from that.
You started all this.
You are such a butter. We did nothing.
It's the first time I'd ever read one in public.
You did? Was that the first time?
It really was. It was totally the first time.
And you went and got called from
Outlaw Publishing. Yeah,
Outlaw Publishing, and you got yourself a book deal.
They picked up a deal, and what started it all was I was doing the poems for my dad. My dad had Parkinson's, and he had a long battle with it. And we'd always built cars, and he was kind of the onus behind me going into engineering, and so at the end of his Parkinson's, really what we had left to do together was kind of read stuff. And he was kind of encouraging me. And when I went on your show, he was still with us and he had a chance to hear it. So it was really kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was kind of the driving force.
Yeah, and that was good. We were kind of like, oh no, he's reading a poem.
Yeah.
But then when you went through, we're like, all right, I'm down with it. That's good.
And it picked up speed from there. And
totally.
And it was, it was all electronic media and social media. People started to ask for, a copy from that. And I started to write a few more and share some more with my dad. And it started to connect me to people all over Detroit, all over the country. People shared their stories with me, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
So it's outlawspoetry.com.
Yeah, it's a part of Outlaw Publishing, and it's part of Hondo Publishing, which was associated with John Wayne.
John Wayne,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you dedicated to your pop? Good, I like that.
I did, yeah.
Like
It's
that.
the dedication says it all, right? He gave me the greatest gift any father can give his son. He believed in me.
Sure. And it's basically a collection of cool poems, like working man poems.
Connections and stuff. And I brought one here tonight. A good buddy of mine, Andy Cohen, who was a big, for years I did the off-road part of Mopar and performance engineering and that stuff. And Andy was a big off-roader. We met every year at Moab. And, he was an author. He was a pretty well-known author. And, he'd written some books, and we kind of connected through the poetry and on Facebook and stuff. And I wrote a tribute piece. He passed this last fall from brain cancer. But
oh my God.
we had been trading stories, and he had been one of the encouraging guys behind it. So
now this has been like a college thing you started, just like now all of a sudden, or
I wrote for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Because Mopar took me all over the world, right? So I had opportunity to meet all kinds of cool people, and I always wrote, and I just never shared it. And then when my pops got sick, it kind of became our thing.
He's
the
cigarette smoking man from X-Files. If you ever saw that episode,
no.
Basically, his entire life was because he was a frustrated writer. Like, he kept writing short stories and sending them off to different publishing houses, and they kept rejecting him. And the first time he got accepted, he wrote his resignation letter. And he was going to quit, and then he stopped by the newsstand to pick up a copy because they said he was out, and they totally screwed up his story, and he ripped up his resignation letter. Like, that was like the background of cigarette smoking man back then.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so the book is called Unbranded, Words of a Renegade. It's out there on it's on Amazon. It's you can get it on there. It's available on Kindle, and so
okay,
it's out there in the world. I got a publishing.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I brought one tonight to read it, and it's actually the dedication piece for my buddy Andy Cohen. It's a short one.
Fair enough.
It'll fit the spot. And we were Jeepers together. We did a lot of stuff out at Moab with the Mopar stuff. So it's called Valhalla Trail. When I was a young man, I stood in the shadows of men who were legends, their rides built with fire, and wheeling together on trails from forever. They taught us to matter, this tribe of tall tire. The craftsmen and painters and builders of vision took time to find greatness and then share their skills. And the void they were filling in young kids still dreaming is the stuff made of legend and carved in these hills. We toasted the good ones and sorted out posers. We wheeled in the moonlight on stairs to the sky. In lifted up Wranglers beside gadget newfanglers, we all learned together to build on our try. And now that they're leaving, we're just left with our grieving as the Vikings of off-road set sail. And there in the distance, we watch them grow smaller as their rigs head up slowly up Valhalla Trail.
See, this is like camp. This is like what I see right, like my vision, like camping trip, like bunch of dudes, motorcycles, and big reading this stuff at a campfire, drinking some PBRs and smoking cigars. That's what I saw.
These are my words.
These are my words.
Engineering night ride up in Moab with all the Jeep guys at the Easter Jeep Safari. Every year. So yeah.
No, that's what I mean. It takes you to that kind of like mindset,
Yeah, but it just shows you how connected everything is, because it started to connect people from all over the country. People telling their stories, asking if they can share them, and it's been a blast. So
no doubt,
that part's been really good.
No doubt.
Yeah.
He writes a book. We go off and start a podcast network. Same origin.
Right. Who knew? Who knew?
We've been that was the thing we've always toyed around with because we've been writing blogs. Shoot, for how many years?
Way too many.
We have like 400 or 500 entries, and everybody says, "Why don't you play us put a book together?" I'm like, "Well, we wrote it in blog format. I don't know if it goes in book format."
I do have a standing offer to edit it now, if we would like to.
You said that 2 years ago.
Yeah, but now it's someone who will actually do it.
All right, do it.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, let's go do.
Why would we say no to that?
All right, let's do.
All right.
Well,
even if I have to rewrite the
Stephanie, you have work coming.
No, even if I have to rewrite the blog entries to make it book format, then I don't care.
Yeah, just imagine the people you meet through it. I mean, that's been the most fun of the whole thing. Is just sitting and visiting with people.
Just do me a favor, don't sign my book.
I won't sign your book.
Because we had another friend of ours that signed it for me, and I'm like, come on, man, I've known you for 15 years. No, I don't want
yours is unsigned.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Means more to me than if you sign it. I don't want to, for my kids, you can sign it. Not for me.
All right. So what does ERC do?
Okay.
I guess let's shift gears.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
Yeah, because it's all kind of connected.
Exactly. So what does ERC do?
So I'll call us the premier remanufacturer of electronic components. And by that, I mean control modules, body control modules, HVAC, ABS units, mechatronics. We take core. When you go to a Pep Boys or an Advance or an AutoZone and you buy a part and you have to return your part, I get your electronic part back.
Okay.
And I give it a new life. So it's the ultimate in green industry for one thing. And it's a great opportunity.
And then what happens to it?
We take that, we completely disassemble and clean it. We go through, there's some common failure modes that we look for. And then we actually develop our own test equipment to be able to requalify them back to OEM standards. And then they're available back through, a host of our customers that sell through Advanced, Pep Boys, AutoZone,
and you see it as a remanufactured or refurbished part, I guess would be the other word. Yeah,
it keeps the parts out of the landfill, right? It does the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's a neat thing for the automotives too, for the OEs, because instead of having to do all-time buys and waste more resources and try to guess how much material they're going to need, we can work out of that core pool and we can continue to service your car for 25, 30 years. So
nice.
It's all around. It's a really good thing. And you learn a lot of lessons in remanufacturing in terms of what the engineering, how robust the engineering really is, and what the common failure modes are. So you're always learning and you're always feeding that back to the original makers.
I was going to say, I'm sure that's got to be a huge part of it. Another one of these at the 3-year mark.
Yeah, there's theory, right? Okay, so you're an automaker and you test, but you're testing new stuff.
Yep.
And you're trying to accelerate that. There's all kinds of things that you do. I mean, 23 years I worked for Chrysler. I watched a lot of the test programs that went against the new OE, but it's still a brand new car. No matter how hard you run it, no matter how hard you shake it, no matter how many miles you run it through salt spray, in the end, it's really hard to recreate a situation where
after 10 years of wear and tear,
150,000 miles on it, it's been hit 3 times. Okay, what fails on it? What goes bad? How do you fix it? How do you put it back into play? So, it's really kind of fun because, we're refurbishing. I mean, we're literally taking things that would have ended up in a landfill, and instead of wasting resources, we're putting it back at a better price than what you'd normally get for a new part.
So PT, it's basically just the electronics, right?
Yeah, we do. If it's got a circuit board or a connector, we do it.
I'm going to jump in here because we're brothers of the same tribe or whatever, but both engineers. But I'm going to put it in layman's terms for the people that are out there that might not quite understand it. So you got a control module, a body control module, or an ECU, electronic control unit, and there's literally hundreds of parts, just like on a motherboard on a computer. Well, if one of those little parts goes bad, you can take a $500 piece of electronics and it's bad, and it might be a 20-cent part.
Yep.
So what ERC Electronics does is they'll go and they'll diagnose that. They'll open that box up. They'll replace that 20-cent part. They'll fix it. They'll take that $500 module, and then they'll sell it back to you, and it might only cost you $50. So you save a lot of money for doing that. That's the remanufacturing industry.
Well, so I guess that's the question is, I assume with all the stuff that you have going on, is there there would almost have to be a price point decision matrix where it's, if this module comes in and it's X, Y, and Z, there's no sense diving any deeper into that.
Yeah. There's always a value judgment to say, okay, what fails on these, but for the most part, it's a circuit or it's a seal that broke on a sealed electronic device that saw some salt spray that it shouldn't have, and it corroded a portion of the board. All things that can be remedied. So we pull it right back down to basics, pull them right out of their cases, right down to the board. Rebuild the board. We actually test the boards. We actually test the boards and put a birth certificate with the boards that goes with the unit inside. So there's a preliminary test that shows the circuit board's correct and everything's functional. Then everything's put back together, sealed, tested, and then run through a final test and given a barcode. So you have total traceability. I mean, we work with a lot of things like ABS modules, mechatronics, where we do a lot of stuff with turbo actuators. Things that see heat, things that see a lot of fluids, see a lot of moisture over time or short circuit within a harness that'll fail apart.
Well, and I know you were diving in earlier on, the whole right to repair thing. So I assume that's kind of a core concern for you is keeping an eye on some of that legislation that's being proposed. Because, I mean, I'm assuming that would have an impact on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody, no one wants to end up in a situation where you are forced to pay $2,500 for a module to put your car back on the road, right? And it happens. If it's not worth the trip to remanufacture, there's really no price pressure to force that price down. So we almost act as an opportunity to give people an alternative part later on in the vehicle life in a more competitive cost. And we can do that because the OEs don't have to do as big of all-time buys. They can move to a remanufactured part. So it's a win-win for everybody because stocking a lot of parts for them, they tend to guess wrong. They either buy too much, they buy too little. I mean, it's really hard.
Yeah, the forecasting systems are insane.
Nothing negative on them. It's hard to know in a given model in a different electronic configuration, okay, what goes bad on a vehicle by region in the country.
So then I guess you're trying to think in the terms of your business. I mean, are your customers OEMs, shops like, Pep Boys and that kind of stuff? Or like, do you deal with consumers as well?
No, we deal with some small shops.
Okay.
In things like mechatronics, turbo actuators, and that kind of stuff. We deal with a lot of major parts manufacturers that would sell to an O'Reilly's or a Pep Boys or an Advance. We also deal with OEMs. So all of the above. I mean, you won't hear our brand very much. We're kind of a quiet brand.
That's why I was asking. Like, because I know, I had it happen with my car. Something stupid happened with the window controller. And the guy was like, look, yeah, I can buy it from the OEM, or I can get it from this place. And I can't remember if it was you guys or not, but I can get it from this place and it's going to be like 1/10 of the cost. Okay, yeah, go do that.
Yeah, we do a lot for Dorman. You'll see the Dorman name in a lot of and they're one of the major automotive part suppliers. And those are great channels because they offer a competitive price and they keep some pressure on the marketplace just to keep it affordable for people to keep cars going for 10, 12, 15 years, whatever the case might be. So it's a good thing all the way around. I tell people I get to work in with the greenest of industries because I'm literally taking things that were earmarked for scrap. And instead of wasting new resources, we're actually remanufacturing and putting them back in play.
I'm going to need parts for my Cadillac for at least the next 20 years. I'm not giving that thing.
Well, no, and that's why I'm asking. Like, I'm just because I am. I'm what a huge car guy I am. But I just wonder like how many people don't know that this is an avenue that they can go through for stuff like that.
Yeah, like if you go take Advance for instance. If you go to an Advance, when they pull up the parts on the computer, they'll give you a couple of choices. They'll give you a pure aftermarket. They'll give you an OE. They'll give you a remanufacturer. They'll even a lot of times give you an offshore. With Mr. Trump, I don't know how much longer that one's going to last.
So what the hell is being a Volkswagen diesel owner? In the Silverdome parking lots full of TDIs. What in the hell is Volkswagen? And do you guys is someone like you have got your hands on this thing?
We don't.
Those are recalls, probably.
Those are I think that I think they've got to do some things to get back into confirmation with some of the.
Well, they gave me two choices. They gave me you can have this, or you can get like 3 times as much money in Blue Book. To trade it in. I'm like, I'd be stupid not to trade it.
Take the Blue Book.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this their diesel cheating?
Yeah. So I have a 13 TDI. I'm just curious from a remanufacturing standpoint, are we going to see my car on the road in a year when all the
probably. If they go in and fix it, I would assume so.
Right. They come up with a solution that's amenable. I don't know what they've worked out. I know they've got to come back into compliance. So, but ours,
I give Volkswagen an A for ingenuity, and cheating the test, right?
It wasn't just them though. Volkswagen got caught up in the media hang up of it.
Yeah, they were the first ones that got caught.
Right.
Yeah, I think what they did is they wrote software that detected that they were in an emissions test. All right. And they changed
and tweaked the levels
algorithm to pass emissions.
As soon as that thing went in the muffler,
yeah, it's like technically, did they break the law? I don't know.
Well, given that the president got arrested when he landed in the United States, I'm going to go with yes.
So I'm getting double the gas mileage, but I'm spitting out extra nitrogen. I don't know. It's a wash. I don't know.
You know what? That car probably spit out 1/50th the amount that your lawnmower spits out. So who cares?
But that wasn't on the news, so we don't care about that. This is America.
We get caught up on the minutia when it's like you got stuff that pollutes all the time. I mean,
save the trees while I'm sitting on my wooden table.
Yeah, buy Reman because it's the green alternative. I'm going to keep plugging it.
Well, I was just going to say. So, like, what's one of the coolest things? Like, what's a cool thing that you can tell us that ERC's been involved with?
So we do a lot of HVAC controls. So believe it or not, there's just a ton of failures in HVAC controls and not a lot of options to go in and do those replacements. And a lot of what goes
Bob,
wrong,
who had his air conditioner go out this summer,
or Nuri, who had his heater go out last summer, paid $1,400.
Absolutely. And what's more frustrating than you drive around in Detroit in the summertime and the knob doesn't work for your air conditioning?
We're big on the air conditioner knobs.
Yeah,
we are.
And so it's we built kind of a really cool piece of test equipment that runs them through their paces, and we literally go through those almost completely, light bulbs, everything to do with them. So they're basically brand new because it's a part that gets really exercised in a car, right? So you're constantly turning the knobs, you're constantly it's always running in your car, so it wears out. Yeah.
Especially me.
But again, it's one of those things that you don't really think about, but by having an alternative, that's much lower cost, that's much greener. Okay, hey, win-win. I mean.
Very cool.
Well, we'll talk offline, but he got his picture on Instagram. Got a like from, we'll show it offline. I can't stop laughing over here. And I'm not going to read what her profile says on the air.
I have so much fear.
But PT, how do we find you online again? How do we get your book?
Instagram, so it's available on Amazon. You just go in the poetry section and look up Unbranded. Words of a Renegade, it'll come up, or by my last name. I got a writer's page out there. It's just www.ptmuldoon.com. And a lot of my new stuff I put up there. And, I didn't get into this to make money. I got into this to connect with people. So
this is great.
It's an opportunity to share and connect with people all over the country and hear their stories.
Next time you're in Rochester Hills, my corner bar is Muldoon's. And every time I go in there, I'm like, I got to put the hat on.
It's got to be a free drink in there.
Totally.
So you show ID, you get free beer.
Right, totally. Well, PT, appreciate you spending time with us.
Yeah.
Look forward to reading your book when I get home.
Awesome. Thanks.
But hey, this is going to wrap things up for episode 183 of the IT and the D Show. I want to thank our fabulous guest, Paul Fleck from Dataspeed, Mike from the Great Lakes Comic-Con, PT Muldoon from ERC, and also his book, Unbranded, Words of a Renegade. I want to thank our sponsors tonight, HostGator and Fellows. To find the recaps online, ITintheD.com. Dave should have it posted out Wednesday morning. Look forward to seeing you on the 16th at Hamlin Corner at the Great Lakes Comic-Con and wherever we may be hanging out.
Because that happens. You never know. No one expects the IT and the D Show.
No, ever. So on behalf of Bob, Dave, and Nuri, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. Drive careful. Be good. Beat it.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy.
Make the run.
Run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Ruth.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
Joe, own the truth.
Bear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys?
Like, why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right. Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up. Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just like doing like stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city. I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.